Everyone good? Yeah. Good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Board of Education. The meeting is called to order at 4 p.m. Roll call, please.
Student Board Member Supnet, Ms. Armstrong,
Present.
Ms. Cintron,
Present.
Mr. Critchfield,
Present.
Mrs. Garza, Ms. Stewart.
Present. Tonight we do not have requests addressing closed session agenda items. At this time, the board will recess to closed session. Open session will resume about approximately 6 p.m. Yeah? All right. Welcome back, everyone. Tonight's meeting of the Board of Education was called to order at 4 p.m. in open session. The board adjourned to closed session at 4:01 p.m. and will now reconvene the meeting in open session at 6:10 p.m. Board Clerk Critchfield will update us on closed session topics.
Thank you, Madam President. The topics discussed in closed session were student matters, pending litigation, anticipated litigation, and labor negotiations. The board took no action in closed session. Thank you.
Tonight, we have our amazing principal from Woodruff, Ms. Nguyen, and she will lead us in the flag salute. You have to push the button.
If we all can please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I believe we have some replacement pages. Mrs. Acevedo.
Yes, we do have replacement items for items 13.7 and 13.8, and they are on the back table right now.
Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
We do not.
And we don't have recognitions tonight. Okay, so we are going to start with our student representative reports. Tonight, representing Bellflower High School is Stephen Martinez.
Good evening, Board President Seward, Board President Seward, members of the board, Interim Superintendent Ms. Acevedo, guests, and fellow students. This is Bellflower's February board report. Starting off with Bug Blast Off, this is where our feeder schools came and visited the campus to see our various CT classes, also be a part of this rally where they can interact with our ASB. As you can see the photos, they saw different performances from groups such as Cheer and Filipino Club, as well as seniors were able to talk, and you can see their number on the top left be revealed to them as their class of 2031. Next, we have Navigation Night. This was also last Thursday. This is our back to school night where students and the incoming 7th graders can come check out what our different classes are, our courses, and what we offer here at Bellflower, so they can get a feel of what they want to do next year in their classes. Next, we have Valentine's. Currently, we're doing 14 Days of Valentine's for ASB, where we recognize people around our campus for their kindness and whatever they do for our campus, as well as our ensemble is selling grams with chocolate, as well as singing grams. Next, we have Renaissance Week, which is coming up. It's our Renaissance Rally, which is going to be on the 7th of March, where we honor our various students for their accomplishments, as well as announce our salutatorian and valedictorian for this year. We also have Read Across America coming up on March 5th, where it's a national event where people around the United States read to elementary students. In this case, for Bellflower, we're going to be sending 20 Link Crew members, seniors, and ASB members to go sing at 5 different elementaries. We would like to congratulate our varsity boys basketball team for winning the Mid-Cities League Championship title. They went on to win Hoover Downey 50-47, led by the head coach Zach Carter. This is our first championship title since 1978. And lastly, I'd like to recognize our counselors for their amazing work they do for our students, as this week is currently School Counselor Appreciation Week. Would also like to thank their clerical and support staff, as well as Mrs. Cummings, which is in charge of counseling. This is Bellflower's February board report.
Thank you so much. Next from Mayfair, we have Gil Friedman.
Good evening, President Stewart, Interim Superintendent Ms. Acevedo, board members, and district colleagues. This is the Mayfair board report for February. Here's a picture of our cheer team who just won CIF. They worked very hard for that. All right, starting off with academics, we had our Monsoon of the Month celebration where a teacher can nominate a student and honor their hard work in and out of the classrooms. We had the Community College Info Night this week where parents and students could get more information on the community colleges. And counselors have been going from class to class, working with students directly to plan their classes and plan their 2025-2026 school year. And it is Counselor Appreciation Week, so thank you to all of our counselors for all your hard work. For athletics, once again, cheer, CIF champions, congratulations to them. Boys wrestling are CIF duels finalists, so big congratulations to them. Boys basketball is currently in CIF, and the Lakewood Hall of Fame celebration is coming up on the 24th. Moving on to the arts, we wanted to really highlight Mean Girls, the musical. If you got the chance to come see it, it was a really fun show. Thank you, President Stewart, for repping the shirt. It was an awesome time. There's pictures of all three casts at the top, and our faculty follies. There's a little picture down on the right-hand corner of the teachers. They did an amazing job. It was truly such a good show and such a good time. So if you got the chance to see it, thank you for supporting. And closing off with activities, we haven't had many activities, but we are getting ready for our Abilities Awareness Assembly that's coming up on the 21st. Everyone's invited. It's a great time where all of the Unified Soons, Unified Sports members, and the Unified Cheerleaders get to show off their skills. So come out if you have the chance. And I'm now going to hand it off to our 25-year band director, Mr. Phillips.
There we go. Hang on one sec. There we go. Well, good evening, President Stewart, School Board, Elisa Acevedo. I just want to take a moment. My name is Tom Phillips, the band director at Mayfair High School, and I just want to take a moment to just a huge thank you on behalf of my colleagues and all the students in the 605 All-Star Band. I just want to thank you for the districts all in, our Bellflower Unified Districts all in to support our project. And if it wasn't for the backing of Lisa Acevedo, where she was basically handed the project and she knew nothing about it at our district music festival last year, and then she backed us blindly. She asked me all the questions, and then when we kept asking for different things, she figured out a way to make it happen. And I wanted to say that publicly. Thank you so much for everything you did for our program. Give it up for Lisa Acevedo. It's really something. When we began the project, you know, it was hey, this is a dream, and it came about, but it didn't come without many hands from the school district. And I wanted to say that to your secretaries, Eileen and Lillian, and Miss Esmeralda Cisneros. There she is back there, and just running block, helping me get things figured out as facilities, just using our our stadium, Bellflower High School exclusively, Mayfair over Thanksgiving. Brad Critchfield, your podcast sent it out to the masses. My colleagues were so impressed at how we sold the band and how we sold the project, and it turned out to be probably one of the most spectacular things that could have ever happened. And with the city of Bellflower, which we are thanking next week, and the city of Lakewood, which we are thanking, it was a massive project that together we really did make it happen. And I love our theme, Together Unified in Purpose. But you took a risk, and you took a chance on a guy who just had a dream. And I wanted to say thank you so much to the entire school district, to our school board, to all of you, and for being there. And the kids, we had about 150 students from Bellflower and Mayfair together to be part of the program. And what a day! I can't believe it. It's come and gone. It was so. The last week was so grueling for the kids. And they just rose to the occasion, so to speak, and marched down with pride down Colorado Boulevard. And I know all of you saw it. I know that you were rooting for our kids, but it was about our kids getting an opportunity of a lifetime. And so, again, you didn't have to, but you did. And I want to say thank you to every single person here. Thank you so much for everybody's effort, all of it. Thank you so much, Esmeralda, for being there for us, and the just everything. I say thank you, but I have a couple of trinkets. I'm going to have my friends, if you guys would stand up. We have banners for both high schools, but we also have one, and we'll show this one this way. So here, if you guys would show that, there's that one, so everybody could see it. So there we go. Get on that side. There you go, and hold it way up high. So these were the colors that we used in all of our flags, and basically, showing California now, if you want to turn that around, and there you go. But we'd like to we'd like to present the school district with a banner, and hopefully you'll find a place to hang it. But we also we have the picture of the band from Pasadena. So there it is right there. And if you would turn that around, there you go. And then we just got this in the mail, so I apologize that it doesn't have a frame. We'll get you a frame, but this is the band in front of the Rose Bowl. So, and there they are. So I will pass that down, and we'd ask that you could put these up somewhere in the district office, and it's just just all unity. I don't know if you want to bring that up so they could see that a little bit better, and pass it to the school board as well. But I just want to say thank you so much for everything, okay? And we appreciate you. Okay, there you go. Thank you so much. All righty.
Mr. Phillips, would you mind taking a picture with us with these?
Absolutely.
Can
Thank
we
you
do that,
so much.
Esmeralda? Yes, thank you. Do you guys mind if we do that real quick? Okay.
Yes. Oh, did you have your video? Oh, dang. There you go. Mr. V is with his pregnant mate. They're just about ready. Okay, so that's why he's not here this evening. We had 60 in the color guard. The band we've been at 528, so the band was approximately about 460, 70 in the band, to give you an idea. They marched 5.5 miles that day, basically 7 from where we started to where we ended. And they performed nonstop. There you go. Thank you.
And that was Mayfair's board report. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, filling in for Jay Torres, we have Miss Island Roy from Somerset.
Good evening. Good evening, President Stewards, members of the board, Superintendent Acevedos, and guests. My name is Island Roy. I am a junior at Somerset High School. Thank you for the opportunity to share the latest activities at Somerset High School with you today. I'm excited to announce that Somerset is once again being recognized as a model continuation high school by the State of California Department of Education. We applied in the fall and were visited by a review team in December. Our school will be officially recognized at the CCEA conference on April 26th in San Diego. Vision Night was January 22nd. Parents, students, and community members came to the campus to meet with teachers and staff to learn more about the program provided at Somerset High School. Many thanks to the district office personnel who visit us as well. Students in our orientation classes participate in Bite of Reality workshop sponsored by the Downey Federal Credit Union. They are given a budget and provided time to decide how they want to spend their money. This teaches them about the cost and the goods and the services and how to plan according to the lifestyle they want to live in the future. Jostens came to campus last week to provide information to seniors about graduation. Students are encouraged to order their cap and gowns and their own items they want to have for graduation. They are also encouraged to sit for a senior photo on February 13th, when Classic Image, the photography company, will be on campus. Somerset is using Prop 28 funds to start a film class. Industry professionals from creators have been working with students to plan and write scripts, films, and edits with sound and virtual effects, and work as makeup artists, costume designers, and also actors. Lastly, we have great events happening soon. Tomorrow, Super Friday, students will be celebrating by dressing up in sports jerseys and playing ASB sponsored games. Students in Miss Adams and Miss Egan's classes are going to the Holocaust Museum in LA on the 12th of February. Then we have senior pictures and new student makeup picture day on the 13th. We are looking for guest speakers for our career day, March 20th. So please let us know if you're interested in sharing about what you do for a living with students at Somerset High School. Thank you and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you so much. We do understand that you guys might have some other obligations, academic, family, so you are welcome to leave. Thank you so much tonight. Okay, so coming back around, I skipped an item, but we're coming back to it. I apologize. But we always have our student spotlight now. So tonight we have Miss Lucchese and Miss Nguyen from Woodruff, and they are here with Luis Yotako. So please.
Good evening, President Stewart, members of the board, interim superintendent, and members of the cabinet. Thank you for providing Woodruff Elementary with an opportunity to spotlight one of our outstanding students. I'm going to give this honor to Ms. Weeks, who nominated our student for the spotlight. Ms. Weeks.
Just want to preface, this is my worst fear in life, but I encourage my kids to be public speakers, so I'm going to get through this. So I'm going to read from what I wrote. In education, success is often measured by test scores and letter grades, but true achievement is something far greater. It is found in personal growth, perseverance, and unwavering commitment to learning despite the obstacles life presents. Louis Liu is the embodiment of the true success. In a world that often overlooks the accomplishments of students with special needs, Louis shines as a beacon of resilience, determination, and pure joy for learning. His success cannot be measured by standardized test scores, but rather by the dedication he brings to his education every single day. Louis Liu comes to school with an eagerness that is both inspiring and contagious. He takes ownership of his learning, celebrates his achievements without hesitation, and in doing so empowers those around him to embrace their own potential. His passion for learning is undeniable, and his ability to be authentically himself fosters an environment where others feel safe and encouraged to do the same. One of Louis Liu's most remarkable areas of growth has been in English language development, particularly in the area of public speaking. He has embraced the challenge of speaking and listening with courage and confidence, and a true testament to his perseverance and drive. Louis Liu is not just a student at Woodruff Elementary. He's a role model, an inspiration, a shining example of what it truly means to be a lifelong learner. We proudly recognize him as Woodruff's Spotlight student and celebrate his well-earned success. Let Louis Liu's story remind us all that success is not just about grades, it's about grit, heart, and encouragement to keep learning no matter the challenges. Congratulations, Louis Liu. Your journey is an inspiration to us all.
And then just to reiterate what Ms. Weeks said, true success should be measured by growth, perseverance, passion, and kindness. Louis Liu embodies this, overcoming his challenges with joy and determination, with the guidance of his fantastic teacher, Ms. Weeks. His authenticity inspires everyone around him, making him a perfect choice, for Woodruff's Spotlight. Congratulations, Louis Liu.
I would also like to spotlight Janet Yotako, Louis' mom. Prior to attending Woodruff, Janet was Louis' #1 advocate, ensuring that he received the best and least restrictive education. Her ability to see Louis' potential has given him a superpower to exceed beyond expectations. Thank you, Janet, for your unwavering support. Congratulations to the Yotako family.
Can we also do a picture with everyone, please? Is it green? Okay.
Use your words.
Thank you. Can we do a picture, please? At least, yes. You look really nice in your suit. Thank you so much, you guys. Okay, so moving on to employee representative reports. BTA does not have a report tonight, so can we get CSCA representative? Thank you.
Well, good evening, Board President Stewart, and all the board members, Superintendent Azevedo, and Cabinet. My name is Anthony Ramirez. I am the CSEA Chapter 32 Communication Officer. I'll keep it brief tonight. Let's see. Start out with CSEA attended the Alliance Committee meeting along with the BTA and the District Administration and Superintendent Azevedo. The primary subject we discussed was district transportation. It's CSEA's position that having a full in-house transportation department is a vital component that demonstrates Bellflower Unified School District's commitment to the students, their families, and the community. That's our official position. Chapter President Michelle Quayler, sitting back here, and CSEA Labor Rep Dotu Hospitalis, who I don't believe is here tonight, also met with board members Garza and Cintron and had further conversations regarding that subject matter of transportation. CSEA attended the recent LCAP District Advisory Committee meeting where we reviewed BUSD state dashboard data and we gave input to this year's accountability plan. And lastly, we are looking forward to resuming contract negotiations next week, and we are hopeful that we can reach a fair and equitable agreement with the district. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Linda, you do not have one tonight, right? Or you do? Yes. Okay, so next up we have PTA Communications with President Linda Morgan.
I just never want to pass up the opportunity. So sometimes I make stuff up. Well, not make stuff up, but. And we just had our meeting on Tuesday, so I don't have any photos or a slide presentation this time. Next time I plan on doing that. I always love sharing the photos so you can see what's happening. Yeah, our meeting was Tuesday. Didn't have time to collect and put together a presentation. Hopefully everyone is at least following and participating in their schools' many PTA-sponsored events and activities. As our PTAs and PTSAs continue to work diligently on behalf of all of our students as well as their families. And as every month we have a lot of stuff happening. So our board meetings are attended by not just our council officers, same as well as the unit presidents, also with the superintendent and since recently the deputy superintendent as well. Mrs. Azevedo has always been great in providing us usually updates as well as taking our random questions and concerns that some of our members might have, so I appreciate that. And then this week, Dr. Smith arranged a presentation for our PTA by factor. And I realized that she had like the involved parents in the room, but it's always my hope that the unit presidents, share this information with their board, as well as their PTA members and their families at the school site. As I think this program will be a good opportunity for our parents to learn more about their child's education and just become a better advocate for their students. Many of our PTA officers are also part of other committees and or task forces. So we got an update on some Prop 28 funding information. We touched on equitable literacy and our district's ELA and math scores. And then recently, California State PTA and National PTA send out what we call their position statement and guidance regarding the rights and services for undocumented children. So I know that there's some fear and anxiety in our community about the future of our children and families. So our PTAs have sent out this information to the hundreds or thousands of members in California, and we are encouraged our units to share this information with their members as well. Information is available in English and Spanish. There's a lot, and it's important that they know their rights. The law states that schools must provide free public education to all students, regardless of their immigration status and regardless of the citizenship status of the students, parents, or guardians. I have a lot of information and statements, and it's important that they know their rights, but I just basically just want to share that schools are meant to be safe spaces where children can learn and grow without fear, and schools must be safe places for families to support their children's education. And I will leave it at that. And then a quick update on our PTA membership and a correction. We currently have a total of about 2,300 members, which is 100 away from last year's ending number. We obviously hope to surpass that, and our goal is still set for 3,000. And then last month, I listed the schools that have 100% of their teachers that joined the PTA. That list should have included Ramona Elementary PTA. So now 7 out of the 12 PTAs have reached 100% teachers goal. The others were Craig Williams, Woodruff, Foster, TJ, Washington, and Baxter's PTA. And council update. We have our Reflections, which is our art program. The awards night will be held on Tuesday, March 4th, right here in the boardroom. I'd like to invite board members to join us in celebrating our talented students if you're available. And as far as PTAs, it's election season, so they'll be happening in March. Councils and units are actively recruiting board members for the 2025-2026 term, which will start on July 1st. So for those few that are counting, me, I have 5 months left. And then lastly, I just wanted to also say that we're looking forward to having an active role in the superintendent search. And just hope that everyone stays healthy and safe and have a good rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving along to superintendent's report. Mrs. Acevedo, anything?
Yes, thank you. Good evening. I would like to thank the staff at Bellflower Middle and High School for hosting their navigation night this past week. I was happy to see a large turnout of families visiting the site and learning about all the opportunities available at that school. I'd also like to thank Mayfair Middle and High for hosting family visits this month for new incoming students and their families. So February is an important month for all of us for registration. We began taking student enrollment applications for the 25-26 school year this past Monday, February 3rd, for students in grades TK through 12. So our preschool programs will begin accepting applications in the month of April. Please visit our website for additional information regarding registration, and I ask that you share this with the community. You'll also find us on Instagram and Facebook. You're going to see our enrollment campaign posted there. And in alignment with Linda, I'd like to say, please know that BUSD is dedicated to the success of all students within the community. At this point, I'm going to turn over my talk to Dr. Smith, who's going to introduce a new staff member to you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Azevedo. It is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Frank Olmos, who joined us last month as our Executive Director of Classified Personnel. Dr. Olmos brings over 18 years of Merit System Personnel Commission experience, including distinguished service at the Los Angeles County Office of Education. He was recently honored with a national award for his innovative contributions to public sector human resources management. Dr. Olmos holds a doctorate in educational administrator from UC Irvine, and serves as an adjunct professor at Cal State LA teaching statistics. He has authored multiple books on human resources practices and is recognized as an HR leader who conducts numerous trainings and presentations advancing the field. I've worked very closely with Dr. Olmos since he joined the family last month, and it has been really great. He has great ideas, and I think he's going to be a true asset to not only our classified staff, but also our district in general. So I'd like to ask Dr. Olmos to come up to the podium and say a few words. Welcome, Dr. Olmos.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Wow, I got a round of applause there. That's so nice. Well, good evening. Thank you so much for that kind introduction, Deputy Superintendent Smith, and good evening to the board members, Superintendent Lisa Acevedo, members of the public and cabinet. I'm truly honored to join Bellflower Unified School District and to serve as your Executive Director of Classified Personnel. I look forward to continuing working alongside our classified staff, union leadership, district leadership, and to support our shared mission of serving our students and community. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Anything else? No?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, moving along to committee updates. One thing I wanted to talk to my colleagues about and just let you guys know is that next meeting, I plan to bring a standing committee to be voted upon. And standing committees are a little bit different because it's a committee that I do not want to end. I want it to keep going. And so it's going to be a safety and security meeting that we will have representatives every month. And so we will vote on whether you would like that committee, and then I will appoint people to that committee. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that I'm going to bring that to you in the next meeting. As far as committee updates, I think Clerk Critchfield, you had one? Yes? Yep. Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. We did have our declining enrollment and future facilities planning, and thank you, Deputy Smith. We were walked through a presentation, and the name of the company, it's Leaders in partnership with?
The Learner-Centered Collaborative.
I was way off.
Close,
okay.
in the ballpark.
That one. Great presentation, and we have a planned future trip. We're going to get a group of us to go down to San Diego for a 3-day tour to visit some sites and really just reimagine. I think outside the box of what is possible for a district and really bring great ideas to our district as decisions evolve and those things come up. So I'm really looking forward to that trip. I think it's going to be very productive. Thank you, Ms. President.
Are there any other committee updates? No. We have a special ed committee that Ms. Armstrong and Ms. Intron sit on, so go ahead.
Okay, here we go. Well, I attended the ad hoc committee for special education. This was my first meeting, and with them, I think they had a meeting back in September, so I was briefed on the previous meeting, be brought up to date. I got updates and current information regarding special education, and I was briefed on the FCMAC recommendations that have been completed, and the FCMAC recommendations that are to be completed and or are in progress. So lots of good information, and that systems are being put in place for us to use now and for anyone who joins our team. So we have a lot of work to do, but they've done a lot of work already in getting protocols and procedures together. So I'm glad they're doing the work. I couldn't do it. I mean, it's incredible. It's so many details. So anyway, I'm excited. That was my first meeting. And our next meeting, I thought I put that down. I didn't put that down. But our next meeting is coming up. It's not there. That's it. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you guys for sitting on committees. We have a lot of committees. Some of our board members sit on 5, 6, even 7 committees. So we really feel like the collaboration and the transparency part of talking with our community is really important. So thank you guys for sitting on all these committees that I'm creating and we've created. All right, so we're to the public comments. We do have requests addressing the board tonight. While meetings of the governing board are not public meetings, they are open to the public. Individual speakers will be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board will limit the total time for public input on each item to 21 minutes per board bylaw 9322.2. So we have one card tonight. Miss Emily Moreno would like to talk about Prop 28. Thank you so much and welcome.
Good evening. My name is Emily Moreno, and I am a senior at Bellflower High School. I have been a part of the Bellflower Buccaneer Brigade for 6 years now, and I am the head captain of the very well-accomplished Color Guard. I can confidently say that it has been the greatest honor to be a part of a program that is full of driven and passionate people. I have become a strong and more experienced leader because of it, and have found a sense of belonging and purpose at school, all thanks to the brigade. The entire program, including myself, were extremely excited about the Prop 28 funds that would be used to improve upon our program. That is successful, yes, but not the most fortunate. However, upon hearing that our funding would be used for new activities, such as a mariachi band, we were surprised. Although this is a wonderful idea that we are excited to see grow and prosper, I can't help but wonder about our program in its present state. Other districts, Anaheim, Placentia, Yorba Linda, Garden Grove, and Hacienda La Puente, have been able to use these funds for instructors and staff to enhance their students' skills, experiences, and overall successes. Personally, I believe that it is important to provide and support our program in its current state before putting all our resources into an activity that does not at the moment exist. I hope that you take the time to take my words into consideration. Thank you for your time and help in advance for this matter. I trust the leadership here will make the right decisions for the future of this invaluable program. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we, on our Friday memo, just get an update at where they're at with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, moving along to discussion items. We have one discussion item this evening, and that is the first read of the revised board bylaw 9150, student board members. Ms. Acevedo?
What we prepared for you is a copy of your most recent bylaw 9150 for student board members with some suggested language updates in the petitions section. If you're able to open that document, you'll see the updated language. You'll find that in red. You'll see a strike through of where we've suggested changes. Under petition, the main change that you'll find is that students are elected by their site. They don't petition for a position, so we corrected that language. And then under student board member eligibility, based on some feedback provided, we've corrected again the word elected to nominated by their peers. And then the request was to have the board look at taking those nominated individuals and electing one to serve, and what that would look like if the board were to go through that process. So what you find in front of you is a draft to review.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or discussion on this?
So we will review, I'm sorry, I do.
Ms. Armstrong?
Just a clarification. So this is for us to review, and if we have anything that we want to add, delete, or whatever, we bring it back to you the next meeting.
This is your first read, so you are open and welcome to provide me any feedback that you would like to see in here. Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Ms. Garza, Vice President Garza.
Thank you. What are the thoughts behind going from 3 to 1 student board member?
It's my understanding that there's a concern about maybe the involvement level when you have one student that's rotating on board every 2 or 3 meetings. So it's for consistency and probably dedication to the position.
Can our student board member, do you have any suggestions, recommendations for this? What are your thoughts?
Would you be able to elaborate more on this topic? I'm kind of confused.
Okay, so the question is, right now, you have one student nominated from each of our comprehensive high schools, and you rotate to serve in the position that you're sitting in currently. And so the updated language provides the board members the opportunity to take the 3 individuals that are nominated from their sites, possibly interview them, and then make a decision from the 3 of one individual that would serve in this role for the year instead of rotating throughout that position.
So I'm so sorry, just to clarify, so it would only be one member from one school. It won't be from, wait, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's just from
No,
one.
don't say sorry, that's fine. Yeah, you're asking a good question. So the way the updated language is written, one individual would be nominated from each school, and the board would then elect, they would make a decision from those that are sent forward by the school to elect one individual.
I do think that is a better idea from what you were saying.
Do you want to share with the board why you think it's a better idea?
I think having 3 board members is great, but also, like you said, it's more consistent just to have one member on here. So that's kind of what I think about that. I just think consistency is better for adjusting to being a part of this board.
And this would, thank you so much for your perspective. This would take effect next school year or next July 1st?
If the board determined that they wanted to make that change, then yes, it would become effective for next school year.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Ms. Armstrong.
Thank you, President Stewart. With this here, thank you for saying that. I just didn't want to come out and say it, but the consistency with one student board member to represent the issues for the students would be great. The only thing is that I think if we go this way, I mean, whether we went this way or not, I think we also need to have something in place that will, I don't know what word to use, but protect the students in a sense from being approached by teachers and teachers' issues, because teachers have their union to represent them. So if we go this way, we need to promote the fact, not promote the fact, but we need to make sure that it is known that the student is to get information pertaining to his peers, his or her peers, and not be approached by teachers or teachers of the teachers union. That's just from my experience. So if we can have a document that could define conduct towards our student board members, the student board member, I think that would be very helpful.
Clerk Critchfield.
Thank you, Madam President. I think my colleague Armstrong brings up a really good point. I think since going to having 3 student board members, that hasn't been as much of a problem, but previously I think that was a problem when we did just have the one, and it's not just like the parents, it's also at the board meetings. There were a couple instances where the student board member was approached. So I think making sure that's very clear that no adult should be approaching one of our students, whether it's in the boardroom or on a site, that should be very clear. I am curious about, but I totally agree with the consistency, and I think there's more to gather from this experience if you're here each meeting and you really get in the groove. But at the conception, because I remember there was a meeting at Ramona where I believe the community petitioned to have a student board member. It wasn't something that the board did. It didn't come from the board at that time. But I remember when this topic came up over a year ago, and I don't remember the specifics, Ms. Garza. I don't know if you remember either, because I know you were there. There was something with like how the petition was written, where we couldn't change it too much. Or am I completely off on that? There was a discussion last year about it.
I will have to look into that and get back to you.
Okay.
I know I've always wanted a student board member because I would see the student board, I would see students at some of our conferences, and it's just such a wonderful experience to be among some of the students. I mean, there are some bright students with some bright ideas, and then they form these relationships among each other, and you never know how far they will go. Like after high school, they may run for board. So it's really a great experience for the students themselves. So, but again, guidelines as to conduct toward, that was the only thing that we didn't have in place. I had no idea that, my student board member would be as stressed out as they were. So that's all I have to say. Whether it's 3 or whether it's 1, we need to have some guidelines. That's all.
If I could add just one thing, the only thing on the, and I'm fine with either or whatever the will of the board is. I want to hear everybody. But the only thing I would say is there is a part where it says that at the board's discretion, they may receive elective credits for their service. I think that in our policy, it should be very clear that they should get some credit for the service that they do, rather, because that again was a conversation at one point 2 years ago where a student board member just didn't know that that was an option and they didn't get credit for it. So I would like that in there, they just get credit because they're doing the work.
Are current student board members receiving credit at this point?
They are not. We'll have to look into that.
Thank you. And then the other question I have is also, if we're only going to have one student board member, how is that student board member going to get the perspective of all 3 comprehensive high schools?
Very good question, and I bet you Alyssa can share that with you. We have a very nice cabinet that meets once a month. It's the Superintendent Student Advisory, and you have representatives from each of the schools, 3 to 4 from each school that come. They're typically very involved students, and we talk about all of the things that are very important to the students and some things that are happening in the district to get their opinion. So it's probably the best time for them to hear from other students at that point to be able to represent all schools.
Okay. And so this is, I'm sorry, do you feel that this is enough information that you're receiving?
I do believe it's enough information. In the student advisory meetings, I get to learn more, especially about different programs from Mayfair, Somerset, and Las Flores, and then apply it back here. So I really think that for information, having them in the Student Advisory Council, they'll still be able to obtain a lot of information from the rest of the campuses.
The only thing that I would say we need to keep an eye on is that it could happen that maybe that student board member comes from the same high school for maybe a very long period of time. So at that point, what would we do? Do we want to do anything, or is that okay with our board that we only have maybe someone from Mayfair for 5 consecutive years?
I think if we have the elections, you know, if like the one time the kids wrote the essay, and we didn't know whether they were, we didn't know the nationality, the names, or anything about the kid. All we had was that essay. So the way the kid was chosen, it was totally unbiased. So if that kid just so happens to come from Mayfair every year, then kudos to those individuals every year. So I wouldn't want to limit it to like Mayfair can only have representation. No, if the student is earning it, depending on how we choose that student, I wouldn't care if the kid came from Mayfair for 10 years.
So
You know?
then, so then the process is something that we would have to kind of look into with more detail to make sure that when these students come to us, we have no clue probably where they are coming from, correct? So it would be fair. Okay, so I would feel comfortable if that was, you know, the level of detail that we start looking into as we prepare for the next school year. That it be maybe not that much information on the student other than the, if, like our board colleague says, Ms. Armstrong, maybe just the essay portion or whatever it is that we're requiring our students to do.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here really quick because I haven't, but I completely disagree respectfully. What I would like to see is a lot of districts, they have interviews of the board members. And in speaking to other board members, they really get to understand the students, their personality, who they think would be a good fit with the board, and it's been really productive for some of these other districts. So I know in here it says that the board will basically have one from each school. Me personally, I would like to see 2 from each school if we could get them. So that's a total of 6, and then they be interviewed by the board, and then we choose one of them to serve. I was on the committee with Ms. Armstrong, and I thought 3 would be amazing. I was like all for it. I was like, this is great. But in the last year of seeing the inconsistency, and I think this is your first or second meeting, right? We haven't seen you hardly at all. We haven't seen a Somerset representative. So I just feel having one person be here would be more consistent. And again, we have student advisory committee and things like that to look at for getting input, and we have our board reporters for input too. So me personally, I would like to see us choose 6 and then go to an interview. Clerk Critchfield.
Thank you, Madam President. I totally agree with President Stewart. I think interview process, it would be really good. I'm all for it. Like the blind essay, I think is a great idea. But I think when you really factor in like the size of summer school, and you really factor in like the populations, or even if somebody from Las Flores wanted to jump in, I think you might find some inequities as far as representation and ability to actually compete with the other larger schools. So I think an interview process would be really helpful.
And I feel like sometimes people are really good on paper, or sometimes people interview really well, sometimes they don't. So I feel like with sitting down with them and having discussions and kind of getting why they want to do it, what are their goals of doing this, and things like that. I don't know, I feel like that would be more advantageous. Board Member Armstrong?
You know, Amy, President Amy Stewart, I think that's actually a good idea. And I think right now what we're doing is putting out those ideas, you know, an essay and an interview. Because what we do want, and you know, right here what we want is someone who could really speak really good on behalf of the student body. I mean, we have good speakers on here. Our President Amy, you speak very well. And like if we were to go up, you know, if we needed representation, I would say, Amy, go ahead and do that talking for me. You know, so that's what we, you're welcome. So that's what we need. We need somebody that's really gonna, you know, come in and tell us the issues and what they want, and, you know, what they want to see. So yes, I like the interview idea.
Go ahead, sorry. Or I wanted to ask Ms. Cintron if you wanted to weigh in on this at all. I know you haven't pushed your button, so I'm putting you on the spot, but do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think just being part of this process for the first time and understanding a little bit of the back end of what the students go through, I think that it opens it up more for more students to want to maybe put their hat in right? But also it gives us an opportunity to maybe uplift students that don't necessarily know if they could develop a voice. So I get that we want to pick out the best representative, but also make sure that we understand that this is a developing role for our students. And so we need to be open to understanding that it's our opportunity to develop the student as well. So if they don't come in crisp, the point is to make them crisp so that they have other pathways and advantages in the future. So I'm all for essays and interviews, but just keeping an open perspective on what our expectation is. We're not expecting perfection from the jump, or at least I hope we are not, so that these students can grow. And correct me if I'm wrong, with your experience so far, do you feel like you have grown in this role?
I know I've only been here for like 2 meetings, but every single time that the meeting is over, I look back and reflect, and I feel like I'm doing better more and more that I'm here. And I'm learning a lot more about the district and things like that.
Thank you. And that's what I want to make sure that we reflect when we're looking into these things. So those are my 10 cents there.
Vice President Garza.
Currently, what is the process for students to submit their nomination?
They're nominated by their site, and then it's voted on at the site. Their names are then sent forward, and we take them through a very basic understanding of the roles before they start. And then I meet with them 1 week prior to each meeting to go over the board book.
So at this junction, there's no essay, there's no interviews, none of that.
I'm not aware that there's an essay or an interview. Alyssa, maybe you can share with them what you did when you applied at your site. But no, I'm not aware of an essay or an interview.
So for anyone who wanted to apply for the student board member, teachers were sent out a presentation to introduce to the students, and if they were interested, our teacher would send out a nomination, and we would get like a Google form to fill out, basically just asking questions like, why do you want to do this, and things like that. And there would be there was like a little poll, and each student would review what every student and nominee would say, and they would just pick from there. But like, it wasn't really in depth because you could obviously say a lot, but then be completely different when you're taking on to this role. So I do really like the idea of having like unbiased and essays and things like that, because I feel like you can really understand what the purpose and dedication that a student would want for this big role.
I have one quick question. I know it says in here that they need 500 votes. You've seen the results. Is that like a reasonable number, or should that number be changed? Are they getting the 500 votes?
I can check with the site to see what their average is, and we can adjust that if that's not appropriate. I'll
Okay.
check with them.
Okay.
Obviously, for a site like Somerset, that wouldn't be a correct number, but let me check.
Okay, Vice President Garza.
Thank you. So then it seems like we have already a process in place, but could we possibly bring back, my request would be to bring back like a list of, this is what, like of that process with what is currently being recommended on this policy, because it doesn't seem like there's an interview process now, but we want to add one in. So where would, are we keeping what we have now? Are we adding to it?
So this is your opportunity to make any adjustments. So if I'm hearing the board correctly, what we'd like to add into this draft, because this is the first draft, first read, you'd like to add in something specific to an interview essay process. Am I hearing that correctly?
What I've written down is that we'd like to look at essays and interviews. We'd like to have some guidelines and conduct. We'd like to have credits for the students that are serving for us. And we'd like to just look and make sure that those numbers are pretty accurate. That's what I have so far. Go ahead, Ms. Garza.
Nope, thank you so much.
Do you guys have anything to add on to it? No?
Okay, so we'll make those adjustments. We'll bring them back for a second read, and you can take a look again.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're moving to major action. Our first major action is 12.1, Agreement for Administrative Services for California Advancing Pathways for Students, Chief Executive Officer. Ms. Acevedo?
So sorry about that. What you will have in front of you is an agreement for services. This is a position that is in place currently in an interim state. What we are doing is cleaning up this position. As you all know, I served as the Chief Executive Officer for CalAPS, then came and joined the BUSD group as your interim superintendent. And when that happened, we promoted the executive director in the CalAPS program to serve as the interim CEO. This particular contract is an agreement between Bellflower Unified and CalAPS, which shows that you are you're loaning that entity and employee to serve as the officer, but that person continues to be a Bellflower Unified School District employee. They're on loan for a period of time. And in this contract, it shows that they're on loan until for 3 years, if I remember correctly. I can scroll to the bottom here real quick. So this is basically cleaning up the agreement between the district and California Advancing Pathways for Students.
Are there any questions or comments?
I do. So with this, I think first of all, that if you're a board member for that organization, is it really appropriate to vote on something pertaining to that organization? It sounds like a conflict.
So because you serve on both boards, it's not an incompatible office, and therefore you're allowed to take the vote. If it were incompatible, like being a council member in a city and a school board member within that same jurisdiction, yeah, then the vote would come into conflict. But because they're not incompatible offices, you can take the vote on both.
Can or should? It just feels like because we're loaning, I'm for it. But if we're loaning this and with this agreement, but we sit on the president of CalAPS, just feels like, would it be better to abstain?
You're certainly more than welcome to abstain. You don't have to excuse yourself from the room prior to the vote, which is generally the procedure for a conflict of interest. But if you wanted to abstain, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I have one question. How many board members is on CalAPS? I don't know that.
There's 5.
There is only 5. Okay.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of a weird one, right? Because there's always going to be 2 of us on that board. So maybe I'm just being too, yeah. Okay. So with this agreement, so that kind of cleans up kind of like the whole organization. But does it mean that the CalAPS board is their CEO is still accountable to the CalAPS board, but now it's kind of like in conjunction with the BUSD board?
Their job duties are responsible to the CalAPS board.
Okay.
So if for some reason the CalAPS board chose not to continue on, they would notify the district.
But
if for any reason.
But the financial constraint would be limited to this contract. Like say if CalAPS we're doing great, which it is, and it's expanding, it's its own separate JPA, and it's growing, and you want to preserve your CEO and give them an increase in salary, you wouldn't be able to do that because this contract limits it, or it would be a separate thing through CalAPS. Does that make sense? Like is her salary locked in at a salary schedule for the district with this agreement?
The way it's written, I believe it is, but let's have our general counsel correct me if that is not correct.
So it would be locked into the district's pay scale. However, there's a provision in 4.3 where if you wanted to amend the agreement, if CalAPS, for example, wanted to increase that pay and basically cover the difference, you can add an amendment to this agreement that would allow them to do that.
Okay. And this agreement would be, because CalAPS is a JPA between Linwood and BUSD, this would be, this would need to be approved by the CalAPS board at the next meeting, I'm assuming?
Yeah, and CalAPS isn't, it's not a JPA, it's basically ROP. I recently discovered this myself. It's basically, so it serves as okay.
Oh, I was right.
You were right.
Gotcha.
But it actually serves as a school entity as well, like a public agency.
Right.
So, yeah, they can go out and they would have to approve the contract as well, and then basically gets ratified. Anything that comes forward after the termination, either an extension of the contract has to be agreed on by both parties, or the employee returns to the district.
Okay, and has she already signed this agreement?
So she wouldn't actually sign this agreement because it's between CalAPS and BUSD. CalAPS would basically, I mean, at this point, she can revoke her stay at CalAPS at any time as well, because she has a termination provision in this agreement. So,
And if she did, she would come back to BUSD,
yes,
right? Well, there is a line for her to sign on the contract, is that?
because of the termination agreement that she has in this contract.
Okay.
So, in order to allow her representation, she has to agree to it as well, because she's welcome to come back to the district at any time. So, to
Okay.
preserve that right, she does have to sign.
Great, thank you.
Vice President Garza.
Thank you. So just for clarification, her salary will be paid out of BUSD? And if she receives any increases, that would be through CalAPS?
So she does get paid by Bellflower Unified School District, but CalAPS reimburses the district for whatever amounts she is paid. If they would like to pay her in addition to what her salary scale is at the district, this contract can be amended to allow for that, but CalAPS would have to cover the cost in that as well. So not only would they reimburse the district, but they would also provide additional pay to the executive officer.
On top of, okay. And so if and when this does happen, then that new agreement would have to come back to the board?
Yes, because this board would still have to agree to that, because it would require an amendment, and both parties have to agree to the amendment.
Okay, thank you.
Board Member Armstrong.
Thank you. So how would her increase, would her increase look like a stipend from CalAPS?
It could be in the form of a stipend. It could be in the form of, for example, a car allowance. Pretty much any compensation mechanism that they would want to do, they would have to propose that amendment. They would have to approve it as a CalAPS board. It would come back to BUSD for basically approval by this board as well. And then however they decide to do it, that's pretty much a admin thing, payroll, whatever system they use.
And because she's a Bellflower employee, she will be entitled to the raises and benefits as a Bellflower employee.
Yep.
Anything above that would be on the dime of CalAPS. Okay, thank you.
Clerk Critchfield.
A couple more. So this agreement isn't tied to her title in any way, shape, or form. So she's an interim right now. I know that's going to be coming before the board in a near meeting. So it would still be binding even if she were to become the CEO. It's not tied to the title specifically.
No, it's not tied to the title, it's tied to the individual. And in theory, by signing this agreement, CalAPS would actually make her the CEO.
By
As opposed to
signing the-
interim. So because this agreement identifies her as the chief executive officer,
Right.
upon the signature of approval of CalAPS via the board and affixing their signature, it would be like a de facto promotion from interim to chief executive officer, because it has a 3-year term.
So because that's a decision by the CalAPS board, like by signing this, it's kind of already, okay. Are there any other, right?
That doesn't sound right, though, because we have a board of 5 people. Wouldn't we have to get our board members to agree with us to make her CEO?
That's why I think abstention's probably best if it's,
Again, you're welcome to abstain. You don't have to, but again.
I'm
if-
totally for it, by the way. It's just, I'm just thinking, because it's a weird two-hat thing, which is why people abstain, so there's not a conflict of like, but are there any other employees that kind of fit the same bill that are on loan from BUSD?
There is not.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have, but I do want to say thank you for addressing this. This is something that has come up and that it wasn't done in the past, that I'm glad we took the initiative to clean this up and make it right. So I really appreciate the work that went into this, so thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, can I get a motion to approve item 12.1?
You have that motion?
Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Student Board Member Supnet?
Aye.
Ms. Armstrong?
Aye.
Ms. Cintron? Aye. Mr. Critchfield?
It won't matter.
Abstain.
Mrs. Garza?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye. All right, so moving on to consent agenda. Do we have any items to withhold from the consent agenda this evening?
Yes, I'd like to pull, see the 13.6, employment of certificated personnel, please.
Any others? All right, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda and withhold items 13.6?
You have that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Student Board Member Supnet?
Aye.
Ms. Armstrong?
Aye.
Ms. Cintron?
Aye.
Mr. Critchfield?
Aye.
Mrs. Garza?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Okay, so the first withheld item is 13.6, employment of certificated personnel. Ms. Garza?
Thank you, Ms. Board President Stewart. My question is in regard to, there is an elementary teacher salary on here that says it's a total of $10,650 monthly. And on that same page, we have a middle school AP who will be earning $11,389 monthly. So that's not a large difference. To me, it just kind of pops out. I just want to know exactly how are we basing those salaries?
Thank you for the question, Vice President Garza. In this specific case, the elementary teacher's salary reflects her placement on the BTA teacher salary schedule, which is actually based on 17 years of experience. So she's bringing in a tremendous amount of experience, as well as a master's degree in post-secondary units, which I believe is 60 for that particular column. Her monthly salary of $10,650 would correspond to an annual salary of about $117,000. In the case of the middle school assistant principal, that person has been placed on step 1 of the certificated management salary scale, as he would be new to this administrative position with no prior administrative experience. In the end, his monthly salary of $11,389 translates to a salary of about $133,674. The difference being obviously a higher rate of pay, but also a greater number of days and responsibilities.
Okay, thank you so much. That just was the question I had because it kind of looked a little off. So, but thank you. How many years of service do we take as a school district?
So on the teacher side of things, we don't have a limit on how many years of experience a teacher can come in.
Okay, that's good to know.
It doesn't apply really on the management side of things because the scale is fixed. There aren't the traditional step and columns as they lay out on the teacher salary scale. Usually there's 5 steps or 5 columns, so to speak. So that's why it doesn't come into play quite as much.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have a question. I see that they're splitting time. What type of teacher is this? Because I see they're at two different sites.
Ms. Carter, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is one of our music teachers or a theater teacher?
It is a theater teacher, I believe. Let me look at
It's one of our arts teachers, our dance, that'll be serving two different school sites.
Got it. Thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments? All right, can I get a motion to approve item 13.6?
You have that motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Student Board Member Supnet?
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Cintron?
Aye.
Mr. Critchfield? Mrs. Garza?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye. All right, moving along to board communications. We are going to start our board member communications and reports, and I'd like to begin with student board member Supnet, please.
Good evening, everyone. So sorry, I'm recovering from being sick. Not too long ago, Bellflower had their senior seminar that I was a part of. It was a really great experience for me because as a senior, it's always so emotional knowing that in a couple of months that I'm going to be done here at Bellflower High School. So having Keith Hawkins come in, give us a motivational speech was honestly really nice. And I know that I received a lot of great feedback from my senior peers. We also had a bug blast off, which the board reporter, Steven, gave a brief explanation on. It was also really nice because I was a part of that along with my other ASB cabinet. We got to play around with the 7th graders, and as well as our link crew got to play games with them and give them like a brief explanation of what's gonna go on when they come to Bellflower. We did pass down our color, our senior color, blue, to them, which is very emotional for me because my color was blue for the last 6 years. I did also attend the girls soccer senior night. I got to see my cousin and one of my good friends. It was also, again, it was very sad to see because, I'm a senior, so it was really sad. I also got to attend navigation night. I got to sit at the Associated Student Body table. It was really nice to see a lot of parents ask questions and for me to address the concerns about what's going to go on in ASB. So I thought that was great. Got to see some of the board members and superintendent as well. At Bellflower, coming up, we do have our Renaissance Rally Prep and our Renaissance Week, as well as already starting to plan our prom. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much. Board Member Armstrong.
Thank you, President Stewart. Okay, so I attended the National Education Association delegate engagement. I'm a member of the NEA. I'm one of the delegates that meet on a national basis once a year if I'm elected. So I was elected again. So we had an engagement meeting to get an overview on our annual business that was held in July. We discussed the results of the election and the issues we are facing with the new administration in regards to education and funding. Well, funding is always an issue. I attended the outgoing mayor ceremony for Mayor Dan Coop, and the district donated books to Ramona Elementary School Library, which is the elementary school he attended, Mayor Dan Coop attended. I attended the first of 4 classes to increase my knowledge about screening for the risk of reading difficulties and what California Ed Code 53008 means for schools and districts. This is a professional development offered through the Sacramento County Office of Education. This first training was purely informational, and representatives from Amira, Amplify, Multitudes, and Roar were present to offer more clarification about their specific programs. And I also showed up to the California Teachers Association School Board Dinner. The CTA leaders, our NEA representatives, and our local leaders were there to celebrate us and remind us that we are here for the students. Also, we have tough issues ahead of us just to simply protect free and appropriate education for all students. Excuse me. One reason why I'm really interested in the screening for reading difficulties, I read that the nation's report card, which was released on January 29th, showed continued declines in reading for U.S. students, compounding a decline in the nation's reading scores that started prior to the pandemic. So in 24, the average reading score on the nation's report card declined by 2 points for both 4th and 8th grade students compared to the year 2022. I could go on reading, but we all know that reading sometimes and math are some of the issues that we have to really work on with some of our students, harder at least. And I just want to bring to the attention to everyone, just in case they didn't get this information, LEAD volunteer program is for the teens. This is from the city of Bellflower, is offering an exciting volunteer job training program that provides resources for young teens in the community that will not only equip them for life after graduation, but also give them exposure to different positions within the Parks and Recreation Department. The LEAD program provides young teens with the proper guidance, level of expectation, and tools to learn life skills that are crucial for leadership development. The program benefits them both in their professional and personal development while teaching them basic job skills and the importance of community involvement. The LEAD program is looking for volunteers with an open mind and desire to learn firsthand what it takes to join the Parks and Recreation Department's team. And they are taking applications up until this Friday, not this Friday, but until Friday, February 21st, 2025 by 4 p.m. You can go to bellflower.org or look at this stream again, or just ask me for the information. So, and I do know a lot of teens that are really active at the Parks and Recs and with some of the activities at the City Hall. So, great opportunity for our teens. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Armstrong. Board Member Sanchon?
Thank you. I just have a couple things. Well, I got a privilege to go to Bellflower High School's Navigation Night, and it was just mind-blowing, honestly. The career and technical education, so CTE pathways and CalAPS, my point of privilege, my daughter was a part of CalAPS, and so she always raved about it, all the students about, every single teenager I would run into would always talk up CalAPS, but to actually see and talk to the instructors and see the students and how excited and meet, I got to just observe the students and the parents and their interactions and how excited the staff was and current students. It was just really amazing experience, so I definitely appreciated that. And then I also joined the Southeastern BTA dinner. I know I got that wrong. But I really, after attending, I came back to reflect, and we had a great speaker by the name of Erica Jones from the California Teachers Association. And I got to talk to her a little bit more. And one of the things, just based on where we are, where we are in the climate, the political climate, I think our district and our surrounding districts have an uphill climb. However, I really appreciated her speech because she was basically saying we need to stop being so insular and take action. And there's a possibility of, it's up to each board to take a active role into making sure that we put in protections for our students on multiple fronts. And so I really appreciated hearing that and getting the opinion of others, speaking to other board members from other cities. So I thought that was incredible, and I'm again just floored by the opportunities that board members get and our staff get to interact with other cities and understanding where we are and that we're not alone. I also wanted to give a shout out and a congratulations to David Perez. He's a junior at Mayfair High School for being the grand prize scholarship winner for a short film he submitted that highlighted his vision of what the LA Metro Rail extension would mean to our communities on the new and developing Southeast Line. I don't know if anybody saw the videos of the scholarship winners, but it's on YouTube. And his is at the end, and I believe his video is shown at the 14th minute, the 25th second. So just in case you guys are interested in watching it, it is phenomenal. It is absolutely genius, the way that he is able to describe and interview others and just picture and bring together community in such a way that inspires. So I am just, and also he's a Bellflower student. So I just wanted to give a special shout out because I know there was a little blurb about the winners, but I wanted to showcase that. He is the grand winner of all that was submitted, and that means something. So I also want to take a point of privilege to say, kind of a couple, it's been mentioned and dropped. There are resources on the Bellflower website for our community that is concerned or need more support when it comes to our BIPOC community in Bellflower, that we're here to support and make sure that our students and our families are safe and feel safe to continue to go on campuses and be a part of their teams and their activities and feeling free to walk around in our own community. And I know I've spoken to our superintendent about bringing those resources more to the front of our website, just so there's not like so much chaos to get to those resources. But there's also such a thing called a red card, and that is very much available. You can Google it, red card, for anybody in multiple languages. I think now they're up to like 13 languages that you can actually print out for yourself and have, so anybody that wants a red card is able to get one. And it describes your safety and how you can make sure that you respond in a way that you feel safe if something might happen to you, a family member, or the students that are personally affected by this issue of immigration. And with that, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Board Member Cintron. Clerk Critchfield.
Thank you, Madam President. I was able to go to the Mayfair Wrestling versus Temecula. The team did great. They finished as dual finalists. I know they had a really tough match last night against Bosco, but they were able to move up to Division I this year, and that we have an amazing team there. So congrats to all of our Mayfair wrestlers and our coaching staff. They do an amazing job every year. So I'm looking forward to the recognitions for them. later in the year. I also went by Bellflower wrestling practice and talked to the coach, and I talked to the team there. They have a much smaller team. They practice in the gym. Facilities are a bit different. I think walking away from that, and I know I'm cherry picking wrestling because it's just my sport. But I think there's still a lot of work to do in this district on sport equity and how we really address the needs of individual teams, whether it's on Bellflower campus or Mayfair campus, really looking at how we develop our teams and how we create winning teams that create more opportunities. So I think that's a discussion that I hope we have in the future and how we could really revamp that and just look at it and see what's working and what's not working. Went with Superintendent Acevedo, President Stewart, Board Member Armstrong, Board Member Cintron. We had dinner with BTA leadership. That was awesome. As always, I think it's a testament to us working together and unified in purpose and really collaborating. The David Prez, the LA Metro, I was actually a judge on that, so that was really cool. I got to sit and watch all of them and do the rule brick and stuff. Really proud of him. The Mayfair Mean Girls play was awesome. Dan Fong came out, stole the show. It was just a great time. I was able to bring both of my daughters, and they really loved it. And then they wanted to come home and watch the movie in like 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, maybe this is a little too much for them. But congrats to all the students who put that on, all the staff. A lot of work goes into that, so it's always great to see. Board Member Armstrong and I went to the recognition of outgoing Mayor Dan Coops. I had a 3-hour podcast on AI and education last night. It kind of went late, but it was a really great conversation on AI, how it incorporates into education, training for staff, how to harness the power of it, and also talked about like the digital divide and how access to AI tools is again, it's a matter of equity. It's like when having access to the internet. At one point, we were very focused on that, giving students hotspots and making sure everybody had access to the same tools. AI is going in that same direction, so I think it's important for districts to start looking at how we create that equitable access to these tools that are really going to help learning and not hinder it, because it's coming, and I hope we talk more about that in the years to come. Congrats on all the work being done, and Patrick, the Mayfair Fields are DSA approved now, so that's going in a positive direction, so thanks for all the continued work on that. And I've heard a lot of issues on security at Mayfair campuses, campus especially, and I think that's something that I know we're going to be talking about that in future discussions, but I think it's really important. I think every elected says security is their top priority when they're running, and then the community, it's a top priority after a tragedy. But then in other times, it seems to kind of fall down the priority list. I think it's really important that we keep it up as the #1 priority because things happen every day. There's, cops are called to Mayfair too regularly. And I think it's something that we need to address, not only for our students, but also for staff and as a deterrent. So I think it's a conversation that's really important and deserves a robust conversation about options and what's best for our campuses. So I look forward to having that discussion with my colleagues. Other than that, have a good night.
Thank you, Clerk Critchfield. That's very tongue-twisting. Vice President Garza.
Thank you, Board President Stewart. I attended the Alliance meeting on the 15th of December. I also attended the CSEA. I had a meeting with CSEA and our fellow board member, Cintron. Very good conversation. A lot of confusion was clarified and rectified. So also went to the school site planning committee. And I also want to make sure that everyone is aware that there is a career expo and resource fair for our district, February 2nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Bellflower High School. So that would be amazing if you actually could have people come over, come look at us, and it's really amazing that we are now at this place. I know that the board has really worked really hard to get this going, and I'm so happy that it's here now. So thank you so much, staff, for all your hard work and making this, come to fruition for us. I know that we're gonna hopefully get a lot of people to come and apply. Also, when is it? When is it? Sorry, February 22nd. Sorry about that. So, what else? Yes, I also want to kind of agree with what some of our board members have spoken about today. Educational agencies should be a place where our students come and feel safe. There is no place other than at school where they know that these adults are there to care for them, to nurture them, and to help them grow in various aspects, not just in education. So I would urge you as well to look into that red card. And Madam President, if we could entertain maybe a conversation with our superintendent and maybe our attorney to see what it is that we can do for our students to make sure that if there's anything, any type of board policies that we can develop together, so that way we offer some type of protections for our kids who are coming across our campuses. Because having to go to school should never, ever be, a fear. So thank you so much. Happy Lunar New Year. And also enjoy the upcoming 2 days off. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice President Garza. All right, good evening. Throughout the last few weeks, I served on the Bellflower Bravo Awards Selection Committee. That was pretty cool. I attended the YMCA Principal Appreciation Luncheon with Clerk Critchfield. It was really nice to just be with staff and to sit with some of our principals and to appreciate YMCA. That was pretty cool. I went to the Bellflower High School baseball alumni game. I'm really excited to see that they are on our information items. They are traveling to San Diego next month, and I'm just really excited to see how they do this season. They have a great team. I met with BTA President Carrie McDaniel and Vice President Dan Fong. Vice President Garza and I sat down and we met with them and we had a long discussion, which was really nice. I attended the Mayfair Theater performance of Mean Girls. As always, kudos to Mr. Saunders and his staff and all of his students that took part in this. I have to say that Janice was my favorite character this year. I go every year and I love it. I go with my friend Cindy and all of the Lindstrom teachers, and I just have a blast. And senior Noelia Tomich, she was just so good at this part. Like, she literally was Janice in my mind. Like, she was amazing. And I just want to say there were also 7 other seniors this year that were just so awesome, and they're going to be truly missed. So I just want to say thank you so much to Kylie Tompkins, Ashley Tellers, Noah Clark, Emerson Workman, Adons Nodim, and Nathan Estoesta. It was just awesome. It is every single year. If you don't go, you should go. On Wednesday, I was able to join our teachers for the Southeast Dinner, and it's just always great to collaborate with our CTA and our unions and our representatives. It's basically our Southeastern is all of the districts that are in that area, and there's quite a few of them, but it's like Paramount, Norwalk, La Mirada, Downey, Bellflower. It's just a bunch of us all together, and they just honor and have dinner and give us time to talk and ask questions, so that's always nice to go to. And then congratulations to our Bellflower High School boys basketball again on their bid to CIF. It's been a long time, and I'm super proud of them, so I wish them luck. And lastly, we had a situation this weekend. A lot of board members got calls, and I just wanted to offer my sincere apologies for the problems that we had with some of our teachers' paychecks. I understand that that money is very serious, and I apologize as board president. I take full accountability for that. There were a few variables that were not in our control, and we had a communication error between two of our departments that did contribute to those delays, but I am truly sorry. We take full accountability. We've changed some of the procedures and the processes of how we do things, so I hope this will never happen again. And I really appreciate our teachers for understanding. We're human beings, we make mistakes, but I just want to say that we're sorry for that. We take accountability. We want to be transparent with that, and I really thank you guys for understanding. So hopefully we will not have that happen again. And that was it. Are there any questions on informational items? No? All right, hearing none. We are not going to adjourn. The board is going to be adjourning to closed session. So at this time, we will recess to closed session at 7:54. There will be no further action taken in open session. Thank you. I have to say the time? Okay. You guys good? All right, welcome back. We are reconvening into open session at 9:06 p.m. Clerk Critchfield, will you please report out?
The board discussed labor negotiations and no action was taken.
At this time, if there is no objection, the meeting is adjourned at 9:07 p.m. until the next special meeting on February 10th. All right, thank you.